Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Mikey. Good morning, Justin. It's Thanksgiving post into Christmas. It seems like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas were crammed in. It's like redo your lights every day, new decorations, throwing some Hanukkah. This could be easy. I knew Christina was coming in.
Yeah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi. Happy belated Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great weekend with your family.
Vice versa, I did. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. So I have two questions for you this morning, and so I'm going to go with the one. What do you think is the biggest lesson that you've learned in the last week?
Forgiveness not only brings peace to a fearful heart, but it brings certainty to your mind. And so I never made the leap of understanding how forgiveness could give certainty, but really delving deep into forgiveness, that's what brings, it's the only certainty I can find. You know, I joke around that there's nothing certain about the future. Well, if you have forgiveness, you have a certain future.
That touched me right deep in the heart. That was really beautiful, and that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
I gotta ask that question.
Me too. That was good. It was good timing. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon. Thank
Yes.
you. Awesome. Jesse.
Hi.
Good morning. How are you? I'm good. We're making everybody wake up early after Thanksgiving. So we'll see who the true team members are, the people that really want to expand and accelerate.
Well, hopefully that's me.
So,
question, because okay, so how do you when you have set a goal, how do you well, I know that you're big on taking a lot of action, but how do you know the right action steps to take? Because sometimes what I'll do is I'll rush into action, for example, for looking for a job, I'll scroll through LinkedIn for ever, and and so how do you balance between I don't know, like you said, letting things happen, but not letting yourself, I don't know, I just so confused.
So there's a conflict. It's counterintuitive. Is how do I put full force effort into something but allow it to happen? And I say it's understanding three laws. One, trusting the law of gravity, that everything's pulled towards you, that you want. So that's the first faith you have to have. Secondly, it's the law of Goya, which is what you're talking about, spending all day on LinkedIn, getting off your ass and doing everything that you can. And then the third one is having faith that the law of attraction will bring something better. So if you stay focused in on taking inventory of your values, taking inventory of your capabilities, your skills, your knowledge, your desire, and doing everything you can to angle towards what you think you want, but the nuance is knowing that you're going to get something better. See, in your mind right now, which was in mine when I was your age, is that this insecurity that I'm doing all this work and I really don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what job I'm supposed to have. How do these people end up in career? But it's not about that. It's about teaching you, Jesse, to say, look, I'm going to do everything I can. And we got to make sure that nuance of faith is there, that yes, I'm going to end up somewhere better than I even think, because I know I don't know what's out there. I know I don't know my capabilities yet. I know I don't know everything. So only thing I can do is my best at finding a job, my best at developing these skills to be whatever, developing my knowledge of not only what, but who. And then that faith is the nuance that I know it's going to be something better. And that's where people get better, is when they know. And that's the crux of that conflict that exists, that people every day ask me about. I don't get allowing things to happen, detaching from the outcome. I want to try my best, my hardest, but you got to allow it to happen. You got to have faith. Okay.
I'll do my best. Thank you.
Take inventory of your values every day. It'll help you. Alrighty.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it so much.
Bye. All right, there she is. Hi, Gigi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I loved your post about Thanksgiving and how every day should be that. Like, I love that
Thank
part
you.
of it. I have a few questions, and I think for me, the most important is when do you know how to not force things? Like everything is going well, but you need to also rest, or you need to analyze, or let your vibration, or you need to catch your breath. So how do I assess that and be like, I need to let my mind basically catch up with what's going on? Because when you are like connected, as you say, things are happening very fast, and your mind is like, oh, how did this happen?
Yeah. So what we want to do is level the playing field. So when we're feeling overwhelmed mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, what instead of trying to react with equal amount of rest. So if I'm feeling overwhelmed, a lot of people will be like, I need a month off. You know what I mean? What we want to do is figure out a better system so I don't feel overwhelmed. And so for me, there's moments in minutes that I feel overwhelmed and emotionally or mentally. Well, then I go back and readjust when I take inventory of my values the next day that I need an extra period of vacation time in my planned activities when I'm a student on my calendar to counteract. And the more you do it, the less pendulum swings you're going to get. The more at your highest frequency, which is neutral, you're going to stay because you become hyper aware of when you're emotionally stressing and you're like, okay, but don't try to overreact. It'll keep swinging and you don't want that. What you want to do is say, okay, obviously I'm have to adjust my system, my daily practices in order to make sure I don't get overwhelmed.
Because it's what for me is like I want to start interviewing people, and I ask like a few people, and everybody's want to help me. Like they're like, oh yeah, I have a podcast. How can I help you? And I'm like, I also don't want to push this too hard. Like, oh, I need to do it. No, I need to do it. Like, it's like let your I don't know how to be in that state of awareness when ideas just come and
Yeah,
flow.
in the flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got to just let people know it's, at the right time. I love telling people not at this time, at the right time. Would you be open to help? Not at this time, but because I have to live by my values, my ask, my student, or my calendar, my do it, like mine in order to effectuate allowing the most to come through me for others.
Because I started this and I had no idea where it's gonna go. And then I saw this post, like, it's like Instagram is like something for 6 months and see if you like it. And I started, I think, 8 months ago. And I'm like, oh, I really love doing this. So it was all started as I don't know, it was a passion. And now I'm like, I just want to make a job out of this at some point, but also I don't want to force things. So, you say sometimes you need to do things you don't like. I have a job that I don't really enjoy, but it helps me to build on top of this. So it's like learn from it, as you gave the example of with Lee Steinberg, like the
Yeah.
lessons you learn from there. So it's like, and that's the ego that goes and say, oh, this job is not for you, or you're much better. I'm like, no, no. So yeah, I'm going to.
One of the things too about enjoying, I think it's good to have things you don't enjoy in your life because it gives you an opportunity to figure out how to enjoy things that you don't enjoy, which is the stronger habit, which is the stronger superpower that you want. Imagine if I could instill that capability into everybody here. Hey, I'm going to instill upon you the ability to enjoy what you don't enjoy. Imagine what your life is like. And that's why forgiveness is the only certainty. As I stated earlier to Christina, forgiveness is the only certainty because once you establish forgiveness, not only does it bring you peace, but it allows you to be certain about unenjoyable matters become enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like things are getting more clear because this is like listening to you all the time, and also I start documenting because you always say you're gonna forget the lessons. It's
Yeah.
like we're on a loophole in my head. So when I get offended, I'm like I'm in my ego. I drop, drag, and roll. like using all of those tools, but you have to use every single day. So yeah, I mean, everything works, and I really love this group and everyone here. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Gigi. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
All right, Michael is in the house. There he is. Good morning.
Good morning, David. Rise and grind. I love it, man.
Rise and grind. That's my boy.
That's it. No, I appreciate it. Man, just so many good things are going on right now, and it's really tying into your training today with the energy. And one of the things I'm becoming more and more aware of as I have all these good things coming to me, all the energy's flowing. Man, I'm becoming more aware of the negative energy that tries to pull you away or get you off track. So what are some strategies that you use that can help, keep that energy and, just stay focused and keep all that away, push that negative energy away?
So there's 3 steps in keeping the negative away, because what the negative does is it runs its course through the conscious, subconscious, and eventually becomes part of your personality. Right. So that's why we don't want that negative people, places, ideas, TV shows, news reports. I don't want it. So I use a 3-step approach. 1, whenever I have a negative thought, either internal chatter, which everyone has that voice inside that isn't nice to us. You can't do this. Oh, you're going to lose this. Oh, be careful. Oh, right. This negative voice. I just say cancel. If someone says something negative to me or I say something negative to somebody else, I try to course correct it immediately by saying cancel, either out loud, preferably out loud, because I believe speaking is an additional amplification of the idea. And then more importantly, in my head as well. So I'll say, if we're in a conversation and I accidentally project my insecurity on you and, make myself feel superior or inferior or separate to you, or have an attacking thought, a judgment or condition, which are human, and I do them every day, by the way, I'll just say cancel in my head, and so I'm programming my conscious, it's like a shield, right? I'm programming my conscious to say, F you negativity. This is not your house. This is my house, right? This isn't, and negativity is an energy. And so it's not attracted to Dave Meltzer, right? People that are negative, they're like, oh, dude, I don't like that guy. Good. I really think it's good, and you have to rejoice in it. Then if it doesn't go away, then it's part of the negative thought, or it doesn't go away, then it's in your subconscious. So now you practice this ferocious Buddha, breathing through your nose, out through your mouth, clear your mind, get to your highest frequency of neutrality. That takes more time to get rid of. So don't expect it just because you clear your mind once that it's not going to pop in your head first thing when you wake up in the morning, whatever the worry, the guilt, the resentment, offense that you can't get rid of. And it may stem from generations before you. And if it doesn't go away in 21 to 31 days of clearing, then you connect, which is in Connected to Goodness, I teach an energetic way of picturing what's bothering you. You'll close your eyes, picture what's bothering you, find a physical light in it, cover it up, pick something that you love the most, Bananas Foster's cheesecake, or one of your kids, with the kid with the most potential. I always say, picture that kid, and then take what covers in light, what you can't get rid of in your mind, put it over what you love the most, and then take that big ball of light and hold it over you, and hold that light over you till you actually feel a physical shift. What you're doing is practicing shifting your quantum nature. You're deactivating or activating your DNA. It's the way we program ourselves. And so it took me, just so you know, I had an incident where I got into a terrible lawsuit, ego-based emotion. I wasn't taking accountability. It's just not a good scene. And the person had committed fraud on me, and I took vengeance back. I wanted revenge. And so 9 years, I practiced that for 9 years until I could, literally walk up to the dude and just say, hey man, I want to thank you so much. Without you, my life would not be this wonderful. And but it wasn't just I was saying it, which I said it for years. Like I thanked him and I'm like, oh, thank God for that happened. But I didn't feel it in my heart, in my energy. So it took me 9 years to shift my energy. So use Cancel, Clear, Connect. If you don't have Connected to Goodness, just email me. I'll email you a copy or sign a copy and mail it to you and pay for shipping.
Awesome. No, that's helpful. And again, essentially, I've used different strategies, NLP, reprogram the thought process and so forth. So no, that's helpful. I think that's, I kind of embrace it too, because what I found is the more negative energy coming at me, the more I'm on track.
Right.
It just seems like it never fails. It's like as soon as you're making that progress and you're getting it, it's like, man, just embrace it because it's going to come. And I think those are great strategies to be able to handle what I call the weights of life too. So I appreciate it, man. Great job.
All right, brother. Have a great Thanksgiving, holidays. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Oh. All right. Moving. Hey, Big Toe. What's going on?
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you look like one of my law professors in the fall. They all had the gray sweater with the maroon collar sticking out with the glasses.
Hopefully he left a good impression.
You're a law professor, man. You look perfect.
Thank you. Well, listen, this is my first time, so I'm just going to kind of tell you what I was thinking, okay?
Yeah, please.
So I have a background of over 11 years as being a financial advisor. And 7 years ago, I filed bankruptcy. And I have been dealing with this emotion of failure ever since then and not been able to get. I'm a loan officer right now, but I have my own investment firm open, but I don't market it because I'm afraid. So I was hoping to get just a little bit of guidance on how did you get past that big piece that really, like for me, being a financial advisor and then hitting the roadblocks, that was just devastating for me. And I have not been able to get past it.
Yeah, I get it. Obviously, I define myself by my economic success. I define my happiness by how much money was in my bank account. So you can imagine having zero in my bank account and losing golf course and ski mountain and homes and condo conversions and everything that I own, cars, motorhome. Actually, the motorhome was the only thing I was glad that they repoed. I actually drove it out of my neighborhood and parked it and called the company and said, it's waiting for you.
Okay.
If I had a boat, if I hadn't sold the boat, I would have done the same thing for that thing. Anyway, here's how you do it. Number one, look deeper in just the money, right? You're defining yourself by one economic incident. You're defining yourself by circumstantial lessons. And the reason you can't get past it is you haven't had, number one, the forgiveness that you were just trying
from
really
myself.
hard. You were trying really hard. It's no different than doing your best and somebody beating you for a touchdown. It's no different. It's no different in my mind than am I after, as a defensive back, if you're toasted for a touchdown, which Deion Sanders down, the greatest DBs of all time, Ronnie Lott down, have all been toasted. Imagine if they got toasted, right? Best in the world at what they do. And they said to themselves, I can't get over it, right? I'm not going to ever get on the field again because I can't get over it. Okay. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. So what I want you to do, though, is it's one thing to tell you, but I know how to do it. Yeah. What you want to do is you want to look for the lessons and the stories around your lessons. So what I want you to do till the next time on next week, I want you to at least find 3 key lessons. And I want you to just take a note of a story that illustrates that lesson. And then go ahead. Like I always say, I may have lost over $100 million, but in my lifetime, because of what happened, I'll probably make $500 million to $1 billion from the lessons that I learned during that period. It's just an investment, right? Those lessons that's what you've invested in yourself. And it's just a part of the journey. And go ahead. 1 out of every 2 millionaires in America went bankrupt more than twice. Wow. So you're in a good group of people that try and expand and accelerate and make mistakes. And, let's be honest, when we went bankrupt, you and I went into, there was it was not a rarity. Let's just put it that way. Right. So, but the ones who I see are killing it right now, and I'll put myself in that business is because I went right to the lessons. And so you give me 3 lessons with the stories, and then you can even put a quantitative value if you want, saying, wow, now that I know this, next time it happens, imagine how much money I can make if I have this much to invest in it, or this many people, or that, right? That's what I did. I'm already doing it right now. I'm cashing up big because the lessons I learned during the last we've been in a serious climb, accelerated financial climb, even through a pandemic. They sent trillions of dollars in the economy. If, my lessons I've learned is we're going to have an adjustment. Well, I've learned through going bankrupt how to take advantage of that adjustment so that I can double, triple, quadruple, 10 times my money during that period of time.
Okay.
And I've built a stable income, so I'll never go bankrupt again by buying. You'll get this being in the financial services, right? I've been investing heavily in IULs, annuities, guaranteed returns, and only focusing in on making money and putting cash away and saving my money in annuities and IULs so that no matter what the economy does, I have steady tax-free income. I have savings to take advantage of the adjustments when they happen, because they always do.
Lastly, very quickly, thank you again. How did you get, like, one of my other biggest things is if I move forward with my firm, getting people to trust me after I
Illumination, man. Look, more people trust me with their money because I went bankrupt than before I went bankrupt. Because I illuminate and say, look, I was an idiot. I went bankrupt. Here's the mistakes that I made and the lessons that I've learned. Let me help you so you don't have to pay what? My dummy tax, right? I can't pay your federal or state tax, but let me pay what is way more expensive, way more than 52% if you live in California. Mine was like 500%, right? My dummy tax cost me 500% of what I had. So let me pay. So illuminate, man. Look, it's just like the Michael before. If they don't want to do business with you because you went bankrupt, good. You don't want that.
Okay.
You want people that want to learn from what you've learned from. You still know what you know. You just know more than you used to know. And just because you lost everything personally doesn't mean that you're more valuable than the guy that thinks he knows everything, especially in your space. You need to focus in on your strength and illuminate that to people. Let them make that decision. There's plenty of people out there.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much, man.
Perfect. My financial planner went bankrupt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's failed in a ton of ventures, but he's learned lessons and gave me advice through it, and I made out. So stick it there, Tony. Call me anytime. Take care.
Thank you.
Awesome. You could always practice law looking like that too. So hey, Shosh. I see
David.
I see Shosh's name in my email like 16 times a day. Good to see you.
Great. No, just really grateful to be here with you, the team, and all the community. So looking forward to meeting everyone.
Good. What can I help you with today? Welcome.
Yeah. So to give you a bit of background context, I've been thinking a lot about my vision, goals of really what I want to achieve, and the person I'm constantly on the pursuit of trying to be. And to give you like a bit of background onto the question I wanted to ask was, my background has always been sort of within finance, and I've always been passionate about really understanding how the world works, and finance was a natural view of exchange of value. I've moved right now towards a startup where I help with fundraising and partnerships, but my ultimate goal is to really build my own venture capital fund. And I do a full-time job as a startup, and I'm trying to do that on the side at the moment. And so the position I'm in right now, which is my questions really around how to avoid distractions and goal settings and doing an action plan, is I've crystallized my goals with the what and the why on a long-term horizon and a short-term. But one of the questions I really had was, how do I get absolute clarity with making that into a crushing need rather than just a want? Because right now, the reason why it's feeling to me from the weekend is I feel distractions are kind of taking me off course, which is why I feel it's not right now a crushing need as opposed to a want. And it's not allowing me to break through at the level I know I'm truly capable of to follow through. And my sort of bridge follow-up to that is, it seems quite overwhelming where to start, where you want to develop a venture capital that targets healthcare, education. It's a big goal that you want to do. How do you build an action plan towards prioritizing, towards closing the gap from where I am today to that vision?
A few things. Number one, just at a higher context, to take the angst and anxiety, frustration, resistance away, because what you're doing is attaching to that outcome so closely that it's creating resistance, which is pushing you towards distraction. You have to tell yourself, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, right? I'm at the right place at the perfect time.
Mhm.
And then number two, take inventory of your values to figure out each day how you can maximize with clarity, balance, and focus going towards what. And when you take inventory of your values, you then are able to prioritize the activities in order to effectuate your what. And then in the third realm, when things don't go as they are planned, which they sometimes will, if you want to make God laugh, come up with a well-developed plan. He'll crack himself up, and you, trust me. So if things don't happen as you think they will, as they sometimes will, then have faith that by doing everything according to your values, not other people, not what you don't want, not what your parents want for you, not what is missing in your life, but what you want. Have faith that there's something even better. That allows for the detachment of the outcome. That lessens the resistance to what you're trying to do. It takes away the anxiety, the guilt, the resentment, the offense, this feeling of overwhelmness of, oh my God, where do I start? Look, when you take inventory of your values and you tell yourself, look, my health is number one, so I'm going to spend a minimum of an hour a day on my health. My family's number two, so I'm going to spend this much time with my wife, this much time with my son, this much time with my three teenage daughters, this much time with my mom, this much time with my community. Then you say, my time is very personally valuable to me, so I'm going to study it. I'm going to study time utilizing my calendar, so I'm going to pay attention to and give intention to, according to my values, personal, experiential, giving and receiving values, what I want, activity I planned, activity I don't have planned. Of course, my sleep. Everyone knows my tomorrow starts today, 9 p.m. The best warm up I have is an unwinding routine to 8-hour exercise called sleep, or for me, it's 6. But, that's what you need to do. And so I want you as a first step to take inventory of these values and watch the clarity that you get and the resistance that leaves you.
Thank you for that, David. I think just to dive in deeper in when you're on the inventory of values, could you give me an example of how that would? So my instinct would be, if I was to do this right now, would be I'd put sort of meaning and fulfillment as my top value, and then love and contribution as second, third is
get more granular. Get more granular in your personal values. So if meaning and whatever, then for you, what brings you meaning? Is it your family relationships, or is it an activity, working out? Is it whatever it is? So for me, I get so granular that for me, it's minimum of an hour a day on my workouts, minimum of 30 minutes a day with my wife, minimum of 30 minutes a day with my 10-year-old, minimum of 2 minutes a day with my teenagers, minimum of 1 minute a day with my mom, minimum of 10 minutes a day studying my calendar. I also use those as non-negotiables every day. And because I have a routine, plus I have an adaptable routine, knowing, like I said, that things don't always go as planned. So I have an adaptable routine that says, okay, in-laws are in town. Okay, there's a pandemic. Okay, this is what I'm guaranteed to get done today. I'm going to use these values, and this is what I'm going to get done today. And I'm going to implement my daily practices to do it, which is take inventory of my values, ask and attract, study my calendar, do things now, and practice ending fear. So if I have my non-negotiables and my 5 daily practices based off of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, I'll live inspired, in spirit, enthusiastic. All of these things basically mean you don't create any interference, corrosion, resistance, void, shortages, and obstacles between everything that you're connected to. Everything you're connected to is everything you want, because it's abundant infinity. It's what people define the word in eternal life. All that means is limitlessness and infinity. An eternal life means that you understand that everything past, present, and future exists all at once, and that you can access it at any time. You just have to get out of the way and stop creating these ego-based interferences to it.
Oh, I see. So to summarize what you're saying in as a summary, it would be just take the anxiety out of feeling overwhelmed, have faith in the process, so that I'm not blocking myself and going to these distractions. because I imagine there's some subconscious fear that is there that leads to that process. So yeah, faith by doing everything to your values, take the inventory, and yeah, I think that makes sense. I think for me, it's just knowing what that first step is. That's
take inventory. You got to get more granular on your inventory. You're too broad, and so it's creating an opaque outcome because you have opaque objectives. When you start knocking off things, saying, it makes me really happy to clean my refrigerator, then clean your goddamn refrigerator every day. Right? You make that a priority. You're not doing that. You're just like meaning and purpose, woo and freedom. I want, my personal value is freedom. Okay. What's that? All that's going to do is confuse the shit out of you. Get granular. All right.
Yeah. Great. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
You got it, Josh. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.
Thanks.
Cool. All right. There she is. Hi, Janine.
Hey, how are you?
Happy Thanksgiving. I'm wonderful. Thank you.
So you may have seen my email, or if you remember, so my interview with Alumni Avenger Fellows is tomorrow. So I'm wondering, what do you think is going to be the most challenging about the interview? And I guess, what advice do you have?
Well, number one, I don't think anything will be challenging. So you can't find outside of you what you don't find inside of you. So nothing's going to be challenging about the interview. What I suggest you do is prepare in the context of 5 different things. One, your own credibility aligned with being more interested than interesting, of understanding, other companies that they've worked with, what they're looking for, all the different criteria that are aligned, your credibility with what they're looking for. 2, make sure you establish an emotional connection by asking good questions about what they do today, what they like about it, what they don't like about it, so that you can align your capabilities with the things that they do well and show the distinctive value of the things that they don't do well or they don't like, or whatever that may be. Then what you want to do is quantify through the answers that you have, the value you'll bring them. And, whether here's the reasons that I'm going to bring value, here's the impact I'm going to have, or listing out a capability tied to a quantitative value. That's how you're going to answer the questions. When I train people to go into interviews, I teach them to remember just their values. So when someone asks a question, I ask myself, what's a gracious answer? What, does this require forgiveness? Is there accountability involved? One of the key interview questions that I ask people all the time is, what's the worst thing that ever happened to you? And though you learn a lot by someone what they think is the worst thing that ever happened to you. It's like that teacher that's like, this is the worst class I've ever had. And I'm thinking in my head, dude, you have had way too easy classes if this is the worst class, because kids are talking, right? So you get to understand someone's perspective when you ask them, what's the biggest challenge that they have. But more importantly, ask them, who's at fault? And, if somebody goes below the line and starts telling me how everybody else has done them wrong and they're a why me person and they're a victim, they're out. So I stick to my values. I don't need to memorize answers, but I think to myself, what's a gracious answer? What's a forgiving answer? What's an accountable answer? Okay.
Wow. Thanks. I hadn't actually thought about it that way. I'm like trying to remember all this stuff, or like trying to write down my quantified value and such. But I guess you're saying that I'll remember it if I just remember my values.
Of course, it's you. You're selling you, so nobody knows you as well as you. And let your frequency be your frequency, right? You are you. So let them know who you are, because if they hire you for someone that you're not, all you're doing is setting a trajectory of something you don't want. If you are hired because of who you are, you're going to have great long-term success.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Good luck.
Thanks.
You're going to kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it. There he is.
Oh, yeah.
You always look so good after the game, man.
well, look, any win over Brady's a good day, yeah.
Yeah. Hell of a first quarter, I'll tell you that.
It was. I got to watch it. I got to watch a bit of it. Yeah, thankfully, a lot of the American sports are a really sociable time for us, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Happy December, by the way. December 1.
Yeah,
So,
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I got a big December planned. It's going to be best December ever. So I'm looking forward to December.
Everybody's saying that, right? Is that because people are wanting to make up for lost ground or time, or that everybody's had that much time to just like
I think, you know, what happens is when you punched in the face so many times in a row, and I think everybody feels like, you know, oh my God, the hits keep coming, that there's this clearing. First, you know, you have this transition, then you have this Thanksgiving where everyone changes their perspective and start realizing, man, I'm so grateful for COVID because of this. You know, how many Thanksgiving tables do people go around and say, you know, what are you thankful for? And people say, well, because of COVID, I learned that, right? And I think this rebirth is providing this optimism for December in 2021 that, you know, when this all passes, I study history, right? Because I know human nature. That's why I study history. It'll be like the Roaring 20s. And we have to realize it'll be like the Roaring 20s. People are uncaged, and then there'll be a big adjustment. Hopefully we've put safe fails and other things into context so we don't have the huge downturns that have been experienced after that. But without a doubt, in my mind, there's going to be a huge Roaring 20s when this thing is over. And if you're not saving up to take advantage of all this, you're making a mistake.
Yeah, totally, man. I mean, the Australian economy down here is like bounced back massively, and all of the major banks are now saying, look, recession's not happening, everything's going to kick on just fine and everything. But there's still some government subsidies that are still getting paid out and all that sort of jazz, and there's all this spend now thing because we've got to try and stimulate an economy, but to what end, right? What's going to happen just after this wave, right? So it's an interesting one. What was I going to ask now? Shit,
sorry. Yeah, good conversation.
Right. Oh, that was it. So mindfulness has been a massive challenge for me. Huge challenge. Tried meditating, just did my own head in. That was just not going to happen. I don't know if you've heard of Alan Watts, he's like a British philosopher.
Yeah.
And I saw something from him that he was talking about how so many people make the mistake of living in the future when ultimately all the future has is death for all of us, and that's why you should stay in the present, right? And it sort of clicked to me. I don't know whether it's because he was British or whatever, I don't know, but it sort of kind of clicked with me. When do you feel like, what do you do when you feel that you are really starting to get away from yourself in terms of, you know, the plates? I know, because you'll probably have like 10 million plates going anyway, but when you've got 10 million and one and that last plate is like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah. So what you're asking is, what do you do? You know, I'll use the analogy of having 4 kids. Some of you have heard this before, but, you know, what do you do when you have 3 kids? So you feel like you're in a pool. You know, if you have 3 kids, you feel like you're in a pool and you're drowning and you're trying to keep your 3 kids afloat. That's the way it feels to have 3 kids. And then someone throws you a 4th. So no matter how good you are at juggling, you know, what do you do when it expands? So this goes back to earlier what I was talking about. Don't make a major adjustment. Go back and make a tweak to tomorrow. So deal with it day by day. Utilizing your values and prioritizing, you can make an adjustment for the day saying, because I have, you know, this TV show I'm filming all week, and I still have all my coaching clients, and I still have my marketing business and media and my family and holidays and all this, I'm going to wake up an hour earlier, or I'm going to rest an extra hour, or I'm going to shorten my workout to 20 minutes and do stretching while I read, or, you know, all these adjustments. And then if you take it day by day, you won't have these pendulum swings. You'll have the plateau and grow, baseline, neutrality, higher frequency that you want. And what happens is your comfort zone becomes the size of your learning zone. What you used to have as a learning zone is now the size of your anxiety zone. And now what makes you anxious is even farther out. So it'll take 6 or 7 kids until you feel anxious. And that's exactly how you do it. But you don't do it all at once. Well, the problem is everybody tries to make it's like a race car. If you try to course correct, right? This is why people go in my opinion, why people go bankrupt, because they're moving so goddamn fast and they try to course correct and they crash, right?
Yeah.
So the problem with acceleration and growth and all that is you're moving really fast, but you have to acknowledge that you're moving fast, because you cannot, when you have all those plates in the air, you cannot go run to the bathroom, right? You got to walk, you got to walk your way to there. So, do minor course corrections by taking inventory with daily activity to make or compensate for what seems to be causing you, lack of possibility or probability of refocusing. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Just one last one, if I can.
Sure.
When you stepped away from, I mean, I know when you were doing your sports consultancy and all that sort of stuff, I'm sure you were already coaching people and leading people, obviously. But when you went into this coaching space specifically, did you have like a specific plan of attack, or did you just go, right, screw it?
So let me explain to everyone how I built my coaching business. I stepped off a stage and a 30-something-year-old pharmaceutical rep accosted me. He said, "I live by you. Will you be my business coach?" I said, "I'm not a business coach. I don't have time to be a business coach. Not at this time." He said, "Dude, you be the best, but please, please." I said, "Here, look, here's my card." So he ends up emailing me. We end up talking, and I said, "I'll tell you what I'll do. You go get 3 friends your same age, in your position, 3 friends, meet me at this picnic table in my neighborhood, 7 a.m. every other Sunday for an hour. Each of you bring one question, and you each donate $100 to charity, your charity of choice," because at that time I wasn't a coach, right? I didn't know what I was doing. And literally I helped those 4 young men who are all multimillionaires now. One was an assistant manager at a cheesecake factory. Like literally they've made major advancements, but the word just kept getting out. And then I started charging people, not charity, because of my time. And then we started growing and growing. So I had no idea. I still don't have any idea where this is going. I want to have these private groups, but for COVID, I got so many people like that kid off the stage reaching out to me going, Dave, I need you to coach me. I mean, you can't afford me and I can't afford to coach 100 people, right? So it's time that would take. I just can't afford it. So what good will it do for me to help you if I can't help other people? So that's how this evolved. So step by step, allow it to happen. Like I said, reiteration. I'm happy where I'm at. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Right place, perfect time. Nobody's angling harder than me towards what I want. I'm a pit bull. I have a ferociousness about me. Always have been. It might be a projection of my insecurity. I might be trying to prove I'm better than my dad. I don't know what issues I have, but I am ferocious about expansion. But I have the nuance now for the last 15 years. I have faith. I'm going to end up somewhere better than that. My coaching's going to be better, speaking, my books, my TV show, my movies, the playbook is killing it. All the things. I have no idea. I just started realizing, I'm one of the top podcasts in the world, right? In the world, ranked in the world. And I don't advertise, like I don't pay like anybody to do anything with it. I just post, right? It's like, but I allow it to happen. And I'm like, I looked at it this weekend, I'm doing inventory. I was like, how the heck is this going on? I'm not like other people. That's their whole job, right?
Yeah.
Like they're spending millions of dollars to compete with me and I'm not competing. So do the same thing in the same context with the same mindset. I got to jump to the next person to make sure we stay on time.
Mate, take care. Look after yourself.
Good luck next week.
Speak to you soon.
Andy Reid, the famous Andy Reid in the house. And here we are. Oh, special guest. Hey,
yeah, we got the baby here.
What's her name?
This is Lena.
Lena. I have a Marlena. I'm a Marlena.
So my question, I was hoping you could speak to those of us who do the make buy analysis quickly and then always lean towards make, even though that might not be the best choice. It's just, man, I'm just so hands-on and I believe in myself that I can do anything. So I usually try to make it first. in watching all your tuning into this and watching all your clips, you know, it seems like sometimes we don't need to jump on the question to get the answer. It's always get some answers to some of my questions just watching.
That's the purpose. Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me get
So,
into the make buy, because a lot of people don't ask about that. You know, I think what's interesting is it's a values thing. So making something is like, maybe for me, watching, you know, a Charger game. So for me, watching a Charger game is probably the most not the most productive or positive thing I could do for 3 hours, but my son likes to do it, so that adds a different nuance to it. I'm capable of doing all kinds of things while I'm watching the game to be productive. I think what you need to do is to put a minimum amount of time to satisfy your ability to make every day, 7 days a week. And, you know, you don't have to make everything that way. And you can allot your time towards Lena, towards your health, towards other things, but also satiate that need to make things. And you won't feel the need. You'll buy other things because you're like, you know what? I'm making this cool frame for my TV set to look cool, or whatever you're building. I'm not going to make my own toothpaste or my own beer or my own pizza. I'm going to order it, you know, and that'll help you.
yeah, perfect. I mean, all this is leaning towards like I'm making a business, and so I need to exercise patience on how I build it. But like as you say, like a lot of times we feel the accelerated growth, and our mind just hasn't caught up to it yet.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to catch up to like, do I make or do I buy the pieces that are going to catch up to that accelerated growth?
Yeah. And do it every day, 7 days a week. A lot of times, I don't know if this is true in your case, a lot of times it's because we're not doing it 7 days a week. I'd much rather you do it a minimum of 2 hours a day, 7 days a week, than 40 hours a week, you know, trying to build that business. So whatever that time allotment, do not zero yourself out, because it will create more resistance, anxiety. It'll also have that feeling like you're getting behind where you actually are. Okay.
Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Jefferson. Bye, Lena. All right. My man, Matt, what's going on, buddy?
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for making the time. I wanted to provide, actually not a question, some Monday motivation that I thought would get you and the rest of the group excited. I thought it was a pretty cool story. Do you remember, it was like 2 weeks ago, I asked you a question about like, I've gotten some feedback from people about writing a Netflix documentary. What are like the initial steps that you take to do something like that? And I'll table that sort of quick question for a moment. Essentially, like over the last 2 weeks, I caught the COVID virus. Unfortunately, my symptoms have been mild, thank God. But ultimately, this past Sunday, so yesterday, I was expecting my second retest results to come in. And I had a feeling they were going to come in like early in the morning. I woke up at 2 a.m., middle of the night. Obviously, the test results show up at 2:05 a.m. I see that it's another positive result. So obviously, like I felt a little bummed. But immediately, using your connected goodness, the cancel tactic, right? Like I immediately just like when at 2:10 a.m., I was just like, I'm not going to feel bummed about this. It's all good. It's all for a reason. And so it's 2:10 a.m. and I'm like, obviously not going to be able to go back to sleep because my mind is a little bit all over the place after seeing this test result, right?
Yeah.
And I basically like was about to turn on a Netflix show that someone had recommended to me, right? To like watch, because I'd watched a couple episodes. So I just figured I'd kill some time that way. And like immediately I was just like, why the hell am I going to watch a Netflix show when I can write a Netflix show? And you had given me advice to start working on this treatment. And like, 2 weeks ago, I started doing a little bit of research on what a treatment was and all that. And I started, yesterday morning at 2:30 a.m. writing this treatment. And I just thought it was a pretty cool, use of canceling. Also then just like change in mindset, and was pretty stoked about, where I got 2 hours into, getting a little draft together this treatment. So it was pretty awesome. And I just
even more
motivation.
Yeah, Max, even more importantly, what's so nice is that if you watch the, Queen's Gambit or whatever Netflix show that you're trying to watch, 2 hours would turn into, what is it?
Schitt's Creek, it's called.
Yeah, good show, good show. Okay, so if you would have watched Schitt's Creek, you would have went from 2 hours to 4 hours. You would have felt the exact same way when you finished, meaning you had gone back to the same state of mind of being worried about having COVID and the resentful and guilty and scared and all these ego. And you instead you used the other side of the universe, started to write your Netflix treatment.
Yeah.
And you were able to sleep well. It took your mind off of, and all of a sudden you were thinking, God, with some of this downtime, I could actually maybe get a show sold, right? And this is the catalyst that I need. And all of a sudden, COVID takes on a whole different energy. Then I'm a victim.
I mean, you nailed it, because, like, you know, I'm going to be obviously laying low key for another 7 to 10 days. I mean, I'm fine. Like I said, the symptoms have been mild, but like now I can use that time to, you know, continue to put some more time and effort into it. And I was excited about the first 2 hours of writing it, so I can't, you know, wait for the next 2 hours, right? So it's like, yeah, it was cool.
Awesome. You're a great case. Thank you for that great share, and you're teaching people along the way. Thank you, everybody. All right, Mikey. Thank you, Max. Have a great Thanksgiving breaks. Thank you. You too. Let's see here. All right, everybody, remember search.dmeltzer.com. So while I'm not available, I create a search engine for my private group, search.dmeltzer.com. And that private search engine allows you to find every video on the topic that you type in, search.dmeltzer.com. Thank you, everybody. This is a great group. I love my Monday group. It's sets me off on the week perfectly. Welcome to our new members. Shosh, I see you still there as well. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will talk to everybody soon. Have a wonderful day. Remember, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Thank you, Mikey.